Hi everyone. I've just released Metronomics 8.0, which is a huge update to Metronomics. I think it's the biggest update that I've done in Metronomics' 7-year history. So in this video, I'd like to give you a quick tour of some of the features that are new in Metronomics 8. The first thing is a really simple feature, but it's very handy as well. So on the main screen, you can see that I have the main slider and the subdivision info button. But now at the bottom, I also have a volume knob. So I'm going to start the metronome here. And you can see that with this knob, I can control the volume of the subdivision right from the main screen. And in the preferences, you can flip the behavior of the slider and the knob if you want. By default, the slider is probability and the knob is volume, but those can be reversed. Another feature that I'd like to show you is the new time signature stuff. There's actually an entire video dedicated to this in the channel, but I'll give you a quick tour right now. So if I tap on the time signature, I can go to Custom, and I can add a segment, and now I have the ability to add segments with different denominators. So for example, I could add a segment of 7/16. And when I click done, you can see that there's 4/4 plus 7/16, and you can hear it in action. And you might notice that there's a new subdivision that was added. This is what's called the every beat subdivision, and it's special. You can tell it's colored in red. And what it does is it plays every beat, whether it's a quarter note in the 4/4 section or a 16th note in the 7/16 section. And if you don't want that subdivision added by default, you can take it out in the settings. Another subdivision feature that I'd like to show you is the new speech feature. So I've gone back to my default metronome here, and I'm going to click on the subdivision info button above the quarter note, and I'm going to change the sound to 1 through 10, which is the first option there. And you can hear what this does. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this sound will count out the subdivision for you using the numbers 1 through 10. Because Metronomics has an essentially unlimited number of subdivision and time signature options, it won't go above 10, it'll just loop back around. So for instance, if you were in 13, it would count to 10 and then 1 through 3 again before looping around. The next thing that I'd like to show you is on the saved screen. So now on the saved screen, you have the ability to have folders. So it always has the default metronome at the top so that you can get back to it. And then you can see there's a folder of built-in metronomes, followed by one that I made with some MIDI features, and then a metronome on its own without a folder. This is really great for organizing your saved practice tools. So speaking of MIDI, I'm going to go back to that MIDI folder and load one that I've already made called MIDI Test. This is a great example of another feature that's available in the new version of Metronomics. In fact, this is available in Metronomics Pro, which is an in-app purchase. And each subdivision can now send MIDI information. Like the time signatures, there's another video in the channel about this, but I'll give you a brief preview here by playing this metronome. So all of this is being generated inside Metronomics. I've got 2 different subdivisions sending MIDI data, and it's playing through an internal synthesizer. Another thing that I'd like to show you, once again, back on the saved page, is the new playlist controller. So I can switch here from metronomes to playlists, and I've made this really simple one as an example. And what you can do now is you can have a collection of songs, and it has the start and stop button right on this page, so you don't have to switch back and forth to access it, and these really large, not super attractive, but very useful arrows so that you can switch between the songs really easily. Another thing that's new is the ability to use Metronomics as an AUV3, or audio unit. So I'm going to switch apps here and open up AUM, and I have Metronomics loaded inside, and you can see it's basically an entire instance of Metronomics running inside another app. In fact, you can even have multiple instances of Metronomics running, and it supports Ableton Link so that you can sync your tempo between instances or with other applications. This is great if you want to practice with other synthesizer apps. There are a couple features that I can't show you on this iPad because they're iPhone specific, but I'd like to mention them. One is haptic feedback, and what'll happen is anytime you tap one of these up and down arrows in the control row, you'll get a tap back feeling in your hand. And of course, you can turn this off in settings. Another thing that's new is the ability to use rotation. So on the iPhone in the past, Metronomics has run always in portrait mode, but now you can run in either portrait or landscape. Finally, I'd like to mention that Metronomics does have an upgrade option available. You can see that on the settings screen here. And this will unlock Metronomics Pro, which has a ton of features. I've mentioned some of them here, but you can go to the other video in my channel to see more information about this. Thank you so much to everyone who's bought Metronomics over the last 7 years. If you're thinking about getting it, I hope that you do. And I hope you enjoy the new features available in Metronomics 8.